but I had to quit because they wouldn't give me the job that they hired me for, and they wouldn't pay me what I was hired for. Hey Chais, it's Kai, and I'm doing another story time.
Why are you such a copycat?
So I kind of strayed away from story times for a little bit, and the reasons don't really matter, but basically I'm getting back to it because that's what I started off like really loving about YouTube, and like I started really growing when I started doing story times, and I just kind of miss doing it. So as you can tell from the title, I'm sure you know what we're going to be talking about today. Oh, this isn't wine, it's a smoothie. I'm a healthy ass bitch, I guess. Is my brand changing? No. Anyway, but today we're gonna be talking about when I quit my job at a movie theater. And yeah, there's some tea. Let's just go ahead and get into it. So this actually took place a couple of years ago. I was still living in North Carolina at the time. So at the time I was still working at the coffee shop on my college campus, which is the first like barista job I got back in 2014. This was like 2016, something like that. I decided that it was time to get a new job because I was driving way too far to go to and from work. And at the time I also had some drama with somebody who worked there, and there was a whole lot of other tea happening, and I just needed a change. So I started looking for a job, and I went into this place. It's called Cinebarre. I'd hide the name, but I don't really feel like there's a reason to. But it's called Cinebarre because it's this place where like you go in and you watch a movie, but you can also like order food at your seat. You can order food and drinks and everything else. It's like dinner and a movie, but at the same time. So I went there and applied for a job because I was just looking for something that was better. And really, I kind of wanted to be a bartender at the time because I was like, I'm already a barista, but like I may as well take it a step further and be a bartender, because I also just needed to make more money. It was like a really big thing, because at the coffee shop I was making like $8.75 an hour, something like that, and driving 45 minutes one way to go work there. So I was looking for a job where there were more advancement opportunities and I could get more money. Like being a bartender, I'd be able to like have fun and still make drinks, but also like make tips. So that was the goal. So I stop into this place and I'm like, you know what, movie theater might be kind of cool. I'm gonna go in and just see if they're hiring, because I was also just going around to a bunch of places that were closer to my house. So I go into this place and I meet with the manager, right? I shake her hand, everything else. She tells me that they are actually hiring bartenders, which is weirdly perfect because there was a bar in the middle of the lobby, and like the people who were ordering their drinks inside the movie or whatever, they could order drinks and have them delivered, or they could get them before or after the movie. So it was actually kind of a cool place. She tells me that they're hiring bartenders because she's had like 3 people quit in the past like month or so because various reasons, like mostly like people were going back to school and that's why people were quitting. And I was like, well, that's perfect for me because I'm free anyway. So she hands me an application and I just go ahead and fill it out while I'm in there because I was already coming off of work at the coffee house. I didn't need to like be anywhere immediately, and I was like, I may as well, because the faster I can get this done, the better. So I fill out the application, right, and I hand it right back to her. We kind of talk a little bit and then I head home. Literally, that was at like probably 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that. Literally at 11 p.m. that night, she calls my phone. I was like kind of confused, but I picked up. I'm like, hello? And she's like, hey, I know this is super impromptu and I'm sorry, but would you want to maybe do like a phone interview and then like schedule an actual interview? I was like, yeah, because I was again looking to like get things done quickly, and like she clearly like wanted somebody, she clearly liked me, and she was calling me really quick. Like it was late at night, so it was kind of unprofessional, kind of weird, but also like whatever, you know, I'm up anyway. I don't go to sleep till like 3, 4 in the morning. It's fine. Long story short, I came in for an interview. It went super well. She told me that being a bartender, like I'd probably come home with like $1 grand a month, which in North Carolina is a lot. It's not a lot out in California, and I realize that now, but at the time for me, $1 grand a month, that was insane. I was coming home with like $800 a month if I was like doing like 40 hours a week, you know what I mean? So $1 grand a month, I'm like, great, I'm gonna be able to afford things, I'm gonna be able to save up, like this is perfect. This is exactly what I need, and it's less gas. And I really like the person, because the girl who like did my interview or whatever, maybe I should give her a name. I'm looking at my Drop the Mic poster right now and Chachi Gonzalez is on it, so we're just gonna call her Chachi. Just because she does come in to play later on. She was like a manager, she wasn't like the manager, but she like did most of the hiring on and the training and stuff like that. So so I come in for work on my first day, and I was working at the coffee house like earlier in the day, and so I would come in later at night to work at Cinebarre. So I got off my shift and I was like, it's fine, like it's gonna be stressful, but I put in my 2 weeks like on that day, so I was like, it's fine, like I'll deal with it for now, and then once the 2 weeks is up, it's fine, because I was literally starting like immediately, so it'd be great because I'd be getting 2 paychecks until finally like the coffee shop was done. So I came in and it was weird because I got hired up at the same time as like like 5 or 6 other people, so I don't know, I guess like I just got really lucky with the timing or whatever, I don't know. We like all kind of stood there together and they like gave us t-shirts or whatever and like ran us through very simple things and gave us a tour of the place. It was weird, it's kind of a big and like windy place. I got the gist of it by the end, but it was like, it kind of reminded me of like my theater in high school, except it was like a bunch of movies obviously, but you know, like that like matte black everywhere, I don't know. Anyway, I liked it because it was reminding me of my high school experience, like the theater part of it. Anyway, so I was really excited, and then she was like, well, you guys are gonna start off as food runners for like a week just so you can kind of get like the hang of the place and like see how things are going, etc, etc. And I'm like, that's fine, you know. The bartender who I was supposed to replace, I think wasn't leaving for another week or so, so it made sense to me. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm gonna start off as a food runner, and then she's gonna train me like throughout this week when I'm not like busy running food, and then I'm gonna be a bartender by the end of the week, or at least like starting to, you know? Anyway, I wasn't behind the bar. I was gonna be running food for a little bit until I learned. So that made sense, it's fine. Like obviously I don't know what I'm doing right now, so I can't just be immediately in the bar, so that's fine. So they start me off food running, and I believe there were like 1 or 2 different nights where they did have me like working with the person who was behind the bar, like this is where these things are put, this is where this is put, you know, we put our dishes over here, this is like, you know, wiped on a counter, like do you like this place? I don't know, like random things like that. Oh, all the wine glasses go up here. Oh, if a food runner comes up and needs ice cream, you have to scoop it for them, like just basic things like that. So I'm doing that, that's fine. But I only actually wound up being behind the bar with someone like once or twice, and of course when I was, it wasn't when we were like busy, or it was like when the movies were going on, so there wasn't really anybody in the lobby to serve. It was just kind of like, so this is here, oh, do you want to help me and pick up dirty dishes? Like I wasn't really learning anything. But food runners had a really busy job. Like what we had to do is we had to like stand in the back where the food was, and anytime somebody ordered something, we had to like check the ticket and then run it to the theater. But we had to go fast. They would like get mad at us if we weren't walking fast enough. I don't know, whatever. And again, it was a really big place, and also you don't want to drop anything or make it cold or whatever, so like you have to like hurry up and go, and then you have to like locate where their seat is and everything else. It's a thing. So we would do that, and there would be a lot of orders when the movie started, and then it just kind of be sprinkled throughout, so then we just kind of wander around and look for things to clean or things to do, because like yeah, you could hang around, but then they wouldn't want you doing that, and like I don't like standing around doing nothing at work, because that's just who I am. Like I'm a hard worker no matter where I am. Tea and a smoothie. Throughout that first week, like I said, I worked behind the bar once or twice, and that was it. And even then it was like 30 minutes after my shift was already over. I was just kind of staying over to like shadow the person on the bar, and there was never anything to do. Anyway, throughout that week I kept getting compliments on like, oh, you're such a good worker, oh wow, you cleaned the theater so well, because you know, after the movies were over we had to like clean the theater and bust the counters and whatever, etc. And they'd be like, oh, you work so fast, you work so well, you're so hardworking, you're always looking for things to do, like we like you, you're nothing like our last runners. Which is weird. Like hi, red flag, if you ever start working somewhere and instead of just being like, wow, you're such a great worker, like we're so glad to have you here, they say you are better than the people who are here before you repeatedly, they start talking crap about the people here before you, maybe get out. And again, food running, I was only making like, I believe it was minimum wage, like $7.25 an hour, and there were no tips because we're just running food. We're not getting the tips because we're not waitresses. There were people who did like go through and take the orders, and they would get the tips. We would just run the food, and we weren't really tipped out at the end of the night. Some people would, but for the most part, like we didn't really walk out with anything extra. So I was making less than I was at the coffee house. I was running around way more. My legs were super tired. Anyway, it was a lot. There was a lot of pressure, and I didn't really like many of the people I got hired on with. There was one guy who like really creeped me out. There were like 2 or 3 other people that were like, and then a lot of the other people used the R word in front of me like multiple times, and like one of my best friends is autistic. I like, don't say that in front of me. Also, like it's just messed up. Like you shouldn't say that in general. Anyway, so I was not loving my job. In fact, I actually hated it a lot. And then another week went by and I still wasn't on bar. Another week went by, I was still just a food runner. And it got to the point I was like, something's gotta give, because I hate this. I'm not making enough money and I'm dying every single day. Like I hate everything about this. The only good night was when like my crush at the time, she like went into the theater and I didn't know she was coming, and it was like her and her brother, and she said hi, but that was it. Like that was the only good night that I had at that place. Every other night, I was just miserable the whole time. So one night I texted Chachi because again, I had her phone number at this point, and like she called me before we even really knew each other at like 11 p.m. So it was like, I didn't think it was a huge deal. And she texted me a couple times when she needed me to come in at a different time. So it wasn't like weird to text her. And I was like, hey, like I'm really hating food running. Like, is there any way like we can speed this up? Like, why am I not on bar yet? Why I'm not doing anything else? Like, I don't know why I'm on food runner because I was hired on as a bartender and I would really like to move to bar. And I mean, I phrased it like really nicely and whatever, because that's me. And I'm like, I mean, like it's fine, but like I really don't want to be on food runner. Like, please, like make me a bartender. Like that's the whole reason why I quit my job before this, and I'm not making the money that you said I was gonna make. So she told me like, yeah, like we hired too many bartenders, so we don't actually have room for you on bar anymore. But you're doing great on food runner, and if you would like to stay on food runner, then as soon as the position opens up, we can put you on bar. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? No. Because here's the thing, like I didn't get hired on as a food runner, first of all. So like I shouldn't have had to be on food runner at all. But like starting out, I'm like, okay, fine. Like I need to learn the layout of the place. I need to learn how everything works, and I need to shadow someone. So until then, when I can't shadow someone, sure, it makes sense to like help out with food running, because that's like how they had phrased it in the beginning. But now you're telling me that my position is food runner and I can't be a bartender and make the money you promised that I was gonna make because you hired too many bartenders at the same time as me and you trained them before you trained me because I'm so great at food runner? No. So I'm like getting really irritated. I'm like, listen, like I can't keep doing food running. Like it's too much. It's making me anxious. Like it's not why I started working here. Like I started working here to become a bartender. Like I'm a step down from my last job now, and it's just like, it doesn't feel like it's worth it. Like it's like, I really need you to move me somewhere else because I just can't keep doing it. You know, I hate it. Like it's miserable for me, and I need to like have the job that I was hired for. And she was telling me like, well, you know, the most I can do is maybe move you to like ticket sales, but even then, like you're still gonna have to like, you know, help out with food running when you don't have tickets. And my thing was like, first of all, I'd still be getting minimum wage. Like, yeah, I wouldn't be running around as much, but like also I wouldn't get any tips out at the end of the night because it was just ticket sales. So it would be even less money and still not doing what I wanted to do. So I'm getting frustrated, but I'm like, listen, I could use a little bit of time, not so much on my feet. So I was like, okay, you can move me to ticket sales like for now, but like I really need to get on bartender or on server, either way, so that I can make tips and make enough money, because this is not working out. Like I was already struggling before I got here, and now I'm struggling more because this job is not paying me as much, and I'm also suffering physically for it. She's like, whatever, I'll see what I can do. Like I'll talk to, I don't remember the other manager's name, but there was like a manager who was slightly higher up than her, and she's the one who had decided to place me on food runner, even though Chachi told me that I was gonna be a bartender. That's why this whole thing happened. I only found that out later, but whatever. So she was like, whatever, like I'll talk to her, I'll see what we can do. I was like, okay, great. Something I should have mentioned, I don't remember exactly when this happened in regard to this conversation, but at one point while I was working there, and I only worked there for like a month, so it was all like in a short span of time, but I wound up accidentally cutting off the tip of my toe. I like sat on a chair and it cut it off and broke it, and I like couldn't walk for like a while. Like even at my coffee house job, I was sitting on a chair at the register, even though like we weren't supposed to be on chairs. I was dying the whole time, or I would stand up and like have my other foot like hovering, but even then the blood would like flow down. It was not a fun time. Like everything was suffering for it, and so I still came to work as much as I could. I called out one day, like the first day, so I was like, there's no way I'm not able to stand. I didn't go to class today. I can't do anything. Like I can't even drive. So I was like, there's no way I can come to work, because if I were, you know, on bar, sure, I would still come in, but because you have me on food running, there's no way I can run around that entire theater with my foot like this. I'm limping, like bad limping, like not just like, oh, like it's a little uneven. No, like I'm limping. I cannot come in. And then also that same day, and this is something I mentioned in a past story time about like a bad professor or whatever. I was gonna do a series. I don't know if I'll ever finish it. We'll see. But anyway, I also, like I had to call out of class because of my toenail, but also because I had blew a tire. It was a very bad week. And so I'm telling her, I'm like, not only can I not walk, but I cannot drive to work because I don't have a tire that works. And she's like, well, we really need somebody. We really need you here. Like, I can come pick you up. I'm like, you don't understand. I cannot walk. So how am I supposed to do this job? Whatever. So she let me call out that day, and then the second day I didn't want to come in, but she was like, no, like we really need you, like somebody else called out, blah, blah, blah. Like even if you have to be a little slower, it's okay, but we really need you here. I was like, okay, fine. So I came in, but it was so miserable. Like I was in so much pain still, like every single step I was like wincing. Like it was really bad. Like the bleeding had stopped, but it was really painful. It got to the point that like if I didn't have any food that I had to run, I would sneak off into the bathroom and I would just cry, and like it was was a very bad time. So that week went by, my toe healed eventually, everything was fine. I got my tire fixed, and still time was going by and I still wasn't being put on bar. I still wasn't being put in ticket sales. I wasn't being put literally anywhere except for food running, the one position I did not want to do. So once again, I started talking to Chachi about it, and I was like, this is a problem, blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah, no, I know. Like, you know, we have too many bartenders. Like, we don't have any openings anywhere else. I'm gonna have to move some people around and see who wants to move, but like, we'll figure it out, okay? I'm like, all right, sure. And then came the last day that I ever worked there, and I didn't realize that at the time. So I go in one day, it's a Sunday. I don't know why I remember that detail, but it was a Sunday and we were very busy. And I literally get there, I was already anxious, pulling up. Like, that job had already gotten me, like, you know how when you start to feel anxious in a place and it gets to the point where that place is just associated with that in your head? Yeah. So that was the case for this job. And I pulled up, I was already kind of anxious and I didn't want to go in. And I literally worked for about 30 minutes when I started to have a panic attack. Now, if you've had them before, like, this was back when like they were really bad all the time. Like, I haven't had one like really bad in a while because I've made some changes in my life, but back then it was like kind of frequent. And so I started to feel it coming on, started feeling my breath getting shallow, and I was like, okay, I have to do something. But we were so busy, I couldn't just hide out in the bathroom, and like there was no way. I was like, even if I can stop it now, I'm gonna be miserable the rest of the day. So I found Chachi as she was walking down the hallway, and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, but I'm literally about to have a panic attack and I don't think I can be here today. Is there any way I can just go home? I can pick up a shift later, we can figure it out, but I just really have to go home because I can't do anything right now. I was like starting to cry because, again, like the panic attack was literally starting. We had talked about the fact that I had like anxiety issues, like it was a thing, like she knew it was a thing. That's why I went to her specifically, because she knew. And so I was like, yeah, like you know, it's not like anything else, but I'm having a panic attack and I need to go home. So she was like, not a problem, please go ahead, go home, don't even worry about it, I got you. Acted like it was not a big deal at all. And again, I said, I just need to go home today. Like, I will pick up a shift later, it's fine. Like, you know, I don't want to leave you guys like this. I feel really crappy about it, but like, I really have to go home. I cannot right now. I'm having a panic attack. And she's like, yeah, go home, take care of yourself, I got you. She did not. She did not got me. Grammar. I think at that time, I still wasn't written into the schedule. She was still like telling me every week like what my schedule was, because I wasn't officially written in, and I really don't know why. Their systems were really weird. It was like some of it was on paper, some of it was in the system, and I already signed up for like direct deposit and everything else. So the fact that I wasn't on the schedule and it had been like an entire month was really weird. So I texted her like the next day. I was like, hey, like, do you have this week's schedule yet? Because I didn't know when I was coming in next. And she's like, oh, well, we just kind of assumed that you weren't coming back in. And I was like, why would you assume that? I don't understand. Like, I never said anything like that to you. And she was like, well, you left yesterday. And I was like, yeah, because I was having a panic attack. I told you I couldn't work that day, like I had to go home, but I was still planning on coming back. Like, I never said I quit, anything like that. I told you I was having a panic attack and I needed to go home, but I wasn't quitting. But she was like, well, that's kind of what we assumed, and so we didn't put you on the schedule. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not quitting, so what can we do? Like, again, we started talking about my position and like how I wanted to be a bartender instead of a food runner, and I was like, the food runner thing is honestly, I think what's been causing me so much anxiety, and like, I don't want to quit. Like, I need a job. Like, I can't afford to quit, but also like, I can't keep being put on food runner or this is just gonna happen again. I'm just gonna have another panic attack. Like, I know how I work and my brain's associated with that. I can't do that, but like, please, can we just put me on the position that I was hired for? And she was like, I can talk to her again, but I don't know if there's a position available, but we can see. Like, I can maybe start training you on bar if you want to come in tomorrow or whatever. I'm like, yeah, great. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I basically just kind of let her know like, okay, cool. Hopefully this is gonna work out because I can't keep being put on food runner, and if I have to again, like, I don't think I can do it. Like, that's why I had a panic attack yesterday. Like, I don't think I can do it anymore if you want to keep putting me on food runner. And she basically told me, well, if that's the case, then you may as well put in your 2 weeks now, because like, you know, no matter what position you are, like, you're still gonna be having to help on food running. And I was like, no, like, it's fine. Like, I don't mind helping, but I can't be on that position. And she was like, well, no, like, I just don't think that's gonna work out, blah, blah, blah. Like, you need to put in your 2 weeks if you're not gonna do that. Otherwise, like, come in as a food runner and then we'll see when we can train you. And I was like, you know what? Here's my 2 weeks. okay, you have my 2-week notice. I will quit in 2 weeks, but I will not be a food runner again. Like, you need to give me another position because, like I said, this is not what I got hired to be. And she was like, well, it's a lot of paperwork to train you on bar and to like certify you as a bartender. So it's really, there's no point if you're putting in your 2 weeks now. So basically, you should just not come in. So I did it. And that's literally the end of it. Like I still got my check after that. I got my W-2 at the end of the year. Like everything was fine. But I had to quit because they wouldn't give me the job that they hired me for. And they wouldn't pay me what I was hired for. So yeah, that's basically it. Again, I never talked to Chachi again. I never talked to anybody else who worked there because I didn't really like anybody who worked there. I liked Chachi okay, actually. Like, I think if we had met outside of work, like I probably would have been friends with her. But because she was my manager and again, like, I don't blame her for anything that happened. Like, most of the stuff was coming from her higher up, but it still was really frustrating because I was like, she was the only one in contact with me and I couldn't talk to the other lady because I don't know why, like maybe she didn't like me, whatever, but like she was never there when I was, or if she was, I just couldn't get a second alone to talk to her. Like, they always just wanted me to talk to Chachi and then have her talk to her. So it was a whole roundabout situation, really weird, really sketchy, I don't know. And we didn't have our break scheduled either. It was like you had to like ask like, hey, can I go on my break now? And then they'd be like, yeah, okay, cool. And then you just like, right. I don't know. I'm still mad about that job. And after that, that was when I went and I got a job at actually Starbucks in April. Oh, so it was 2017. Because that means that like January, February, March, April. So it was in March of 2017 because in April of 2017 is when I got hired on at Starbucks. That makes sense. Because at that point I just needed a job and I knew I could get a job at Starbucks quickly because I had already been a barista doing Starbucks drinks for like 2.5 years at that point. So anyway, that's it. I've just been watching a lot of like why I quit story times and living vicariously through other people. And I have a lot of quitting stories. This one was kind of more like they pushed me to quit, but like honestly, I really wanted to leave anyway. The only reason why I hadn't quit already is because I couldn't afford to quit and because I was still really banking on, okay, cool, they're gonna make me a bartender, and they never did. But anyway, it was just kind of shitty how they treated me, but it's fine. But yeah, that's all for now. Let me know if you guys want to hear more quitting stories or just more story times in general. I feel like you guys usually like my story times, but let me know for sure. And also, like, I have like a bunch of different kinds of story times. So like I have like another two Tinder story times that I need to tell at some point, and you guys seem to like those when I tell them. But I also have like, you know, more quitting stories, and I have a bunch of other just like, anyway, let me know what you guys want to see. And yeah, this is my background for the moment. I may or may not change up some more of the decorations because this is just like very summery and then Christmas tree. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I love each and every one of you so much. Thank you so much for watching, especially to this week's shout out of the week across the screen right here. I'd run you food. I don't know where I was going with that. It was supposed to be like a pickup line and it didn't work, but you're awesome. Anyway, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Give me those thumbs and share this video if you like me. And leave a comment down below about your favorite quitting stories. If you've ever quit a really shitty job and why. Stay cool, my dudes, and I'll see you in the next one.
Why are you such a copycat?
I like that I'm drinking a smoothie out of like a Halloween wine glass with a Christmas tree right beside me and then just random other flowers in the background. This is who I am.
Bye.